Yay! Okay, so welcome everybody here at Living Chassidus. Every Monday night we do life skill series where when girls are single, generally welcome to everybody, everyone's welcome, but Living Chassidus is generally for post-seminary, and now is the time you have to think. Once people get married or even engaged, life goes very quickly. It all goes, it's a big rush to plan the wedding. And then afterwards, it's just spending time with your husband. And it's very exciting. And sometimes life hits us quicker than what we realize. So we decided to make every winter a life skill series. That every Monday night, we bring someone to discuss different life skills. So now you have the time to think, to process it. We've had people talk about finance. We've had people talk about pregnancy. We've had people talk about postpartum, women's health, all kinds of things. And tonight we have the great schos of having, I think by now I can call you my friend because we spent so much fun time together. This is Rivka Krinsky, and she is, as a certified health coach, Rivka Krinsky guides adults and teenagers alike around the globe to live a healthy lifestyle through balanced nutrition. Rivka customizes her program to suit each individual, making it doable and joyful. With balanced meal plans, practical tips, mindful thoughts, and motivation, and easy, delicious recipes, her holistic approach helps her clients reach their health and weight loss goals in a way that is empowering and sustainable. And when I heard about Rivka, first I heard about her incredible podcast. That's how I first heard about you. And then I listened to your talk on your own podcast. And I realized this is perfect for Living Chassidus. Here, we generally don't go extreme. Here, we educate people to make it practical, make it doable, living. It should be a living experience. It should be relatable to your life. And I felt like Rivka's approach to health, it hits that point perfectly. She makes it livable. She makes it relatable. She doesn't make it an extreme all or nothing. And that's why I wanted to introduce you guys to her. So here she is. Thank you so much. You want to pass this on? I don't know
putting
if you can clip it where
you want to just clip it somewhere, wherever you think.
I don't.
Yeah.
You have yeah, sure. I just want to clip you.
As long as you can hear.
Yeah, I think they're fine. I think they should. Okay.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I met some of you in the front here, and I look forward to meeting the rest of you after.
Do you want a chair?
No,
Okay,
yeah, that's fine. It's good.
Okay.
It's amazing how you can live in a little small area, but you get every single face here is new. It's really amazing, but now won't be so new. But on the subject of new, I want to integrate into my talk to you today a little bit about the new fruits and the trees for Tu B'Shvat. So as Michal shared with you, I'm a health coach. And if you look on my Instagram, my program is called Revive with Rivka. And I've taken the word revive and made it an acronym, REVIVE. And I'm going to share with you 6 elements that I feel are vital to living a healthy lifestyle. And I'm going to incorporate the trees and fruits along with that. And we'll make it practical at the end. I'll do a little demo for you. So I don't know if you have a paper and pen, if you want to take notes, or you can just plant in your mind if anything from the acronyms from REVIVE speaks to you. And even if you take one thing from what I'm sharing with you today, and it inspires you to put it into action in some way, one thing leads to another. I'll be happy. So just to start off, R represents return. And that really is the first element that we need to make a change, to realize that we're really returning to who we are. It's not something far away from us that we need to reach. Everything that we need or that we want to improve on or to tap into our true identity is right there within us. Sometimes my clients will say, oh my gosh, this goal seems so far away, the place where I want to reach. And really, it's not far at all. It's within. And just to share with you a little bit about, actually, before I get to sharing with you about my journey, just to apply that to a tree. A tree, one of the, well, as you know, Adam eats Hasadeh. Man is compared to a tree in the field. And one of the most amazing things a tree tells is its story of survival. If a terrible storm comes or there's a hurricane or whatever it may be, as long as one twig remains, it can be planted again, and then it'll flourish just as it did before. So we can apply that to us, that even if we've never given ourselves the opportunity to reach some goal that we have, for the talk we have today, it's healthy living, or whatever goal you have, more energy or weight loss, whatever goal you have for yourself for holistic healthy living. If you haven't given yourself that opportunity yet, or even if you have and you feel like you've fallen off the wagon and it's been a long time, we have that opportunity, just like that tree, to flourish and grow just as we did before. And also a seed. In order for a tree to become what it is, to become a tree, we first need to plant a seed. That seed can't be planted whole. It needs to be crushed. And it needs to be decomposed and completely broken down. And sometimes, often, I find that happened to me when I share with you a little bit about my journey. But when clients come to me, they've usually that's just how people are. It takes us reaching our rock bottom. It takes us being crushed in order to want to make some kind of change in our lives. Once in a while, I get someone who comes in that's doing pretty well, but usually it's, and everyone has their interpretation or their meaning of what rock bottom means to them, and it can be different things at different stages in life. But usually that's what it takes, and it's interesting that usually when the seed is crushed, or usually when we hit our rock bottom, that's when we allow Hashem into our lives, because we've let go of our ego, and it's a time when we are like searching and we connect. And actually, Rabbi Shais Taub says, when we're up to nothing, God's up to something. So just relating all this to the tree, it's the same thing with one of the fruits of Israel, with the olive. Just like I shared about the seed. An olive needs to be crushed in order for the oil to come out. And so, there's a certain amount of crushing needed for creating. And just to share with you a little bit about my journey and why I'm standing here today. So I basically, I guess, had to hit my rock bottom in order to make some kind of change in my life. And if I was back to where I was as a young girl, and I would never have dreamed that I'd be standing here talking to you about holistic healthy living. At about 10 or 11 years old, I was already the height that I am now, which is about 5'8", and I was very overweight. I loved food. I just was constantly eating. And everyone around me, my friends, my family, didn't have an issue with that. They probably enjoyed their food, but like food wasn't a thing for them. And, my mother, my grandmother, my friends, they had good figures, and I was busy gaining weight and felt out of place. And eventually I decided to do something about it, but my focus was weight loss. And so I would go on all these extreme diets, I would lose weight, and then I would gain it back, and I'd be on this vicious cycle of losing and then really wanting the things that I wanted. I mean, Australia, there wasn't much Chalav Israel food. There was just 7-Eleven down the corner. I would run to 7-Eleven and buy whatever imported products there were from New York, like 6 gold bars, run back home and gain it all back and start all over again. Until it wasn't until after my third baby, I got married at 18, and she was talking about, you have your time to learn. It was really quick for me. Oh, okay. I would say after my third baby, because I had 3 girls in a row. Now, thank God, I have 8 children. I had 5 boys after that, and my 2 older daughters are married now. But after my third daughter, I feel like that's when I hit my rock bottom, and I remember holding my baby and feeling like, who am I? And I don't know myself. And I felt kind of lost, yet at the same time, I had this beautiful baby in my arms, and I'm a mother. And something that I learned later on was like, there's a time and place for everything. I don't have to be everything as I'm holding my baby. There's a time to be a mother and enjoy that. And then it's a process to get to the place where you really find yourself. And it takes time, and it's a journey, and it's a step-by-step process. But for me, starting the process, I decided, okay, the way I want to do this right now is to take care of my body. And I decided I wanted to lose weight. Through this process, which has been now over 20 years, that I've kept off the weight that I wanted to lose, which helped me get to a better place spiritually and physically. But through this process of losing weight, it became more, instead of being weight conscious, I became health conscious. And that led me to have a very good, like a much better balance in eating all the food groups, also adding flexibility, which is what I'll get to within the acronyms. And most importantly, God conscious, and realizing that me taking care of my body is really the vehicle to bringing out the light of Hashem in the world. Because we weren't brought into this world just as souls walking around. We were really brought into this world within a body, as a body, as the vehicle to bring that out, making a dira pratachtanim. And so having that mindset of, okay, it's okay for me to do self-care when your intention is a meaningful one. And that also makes it a lot easier to stay with it, because people will often ask me, oh, how have you kept your weight off, or how have you lived a healthy lifestyle? For me, my journey was about weight loss, but for everybody else, everybody has their own reason why they want to start living healthy. It started off for me because I felt like I wanted to lose weight, but it can be any reason for any of you, just that you want to have more energy, you want to show yourself you can, you want to be a good example to your children of what you want to show them how they should eat one day. So yeah, it made, people would often ask me, like, how did you keep this off over 20 years now? And because I had another 5 boys after that, and I had a whole different experience having my next 5 sons. And I would tell people, and I do tell people, because my journey along the way has become meaningful, in that I'm doing it because, first of all, well, one of the reasons is because I want to be a good example to my children. And it's not just for me, but also because I want to make this world a better place. I want to bring out the best in me so that I can bring the light of Hashem into the world. And knowing that my body is the vehicle for that makes the journey meaningful. Yes, so the body and the soul, the mind, body, and soul, when we take care of all of them at once, or if you start with one and then one leads to the other, they enhance each other. So I just want to share with you one more thing about return, that it's all within you, is when you light the Shabbos candles, you're not bringing anything new, any new light into the room. The same furniture is there, the same people are there, whether it's just you, whether it's you and your friends, whether it's you and your parents and your family, you are lighting that Shabbos candles, and really you're just lighting up what's within you. So that's just a nice thought to keep in mind when you're lighting your Shabbos candles. So the first step is returning and knowing that it's all there within us. And within us also means knowing our identity and tapping into that. Because when we know who we are, that's the anchor to overcome obstacles. That was another thing that really helped me, is when I, because we're all human and we all have struggle, and there's some things that are hard for me that won't necessarily ever go away, but I work on them, and I can slip. But when I slip, I'm reminded, hey, I don't like this feeling. I want to go back to that feeling of my identity, of that feeling of, oh, this is me. This is a good representation of who I am. So that's another way of thinking of return, is that you're really returning not only, yes, to who you are, but deeper than that, you're returning to your identity. Okay, so then we're up to, that was R. E is to expand. Expand, you're creating space to look through a new lens. And it's you're getting grounded in it, in the knowledge, And you're also getting to know yourself through expanding. And that's through Chabad, through Chachma, Bina, and Das. They're the three intellectual strengths of a person. So you first have Chachma, you first have that initial thought. Then you have your Bina, you're getting grounded and into understanding it. And just knowing also that we are all different, but we are all the same. And we are all the same in that each of us is different. So you have to then, well, we'll get to that, to get to Das is really make it personal to you. So we're going to get into the Bina of what that means to live a holistic, healthy lifestyle. Start where you are, keep taking small steps, and it may not look much, but then it builds into something big. And just something about a tree that I want to share with you about that is that it's winter now, and we don't see the fruits of the tree. But the real growth happens, the real growth of the tree happens in the winter when we don't see the fruits. And that's just a good thought to keep in mind about really giving yourself a pat on the back for the small steps that you take, because you don't necessarily see the goal yet, but those small little steps are really what counts and really what it's going to build up to something big and to your goal. So that I like that analogy of the tree in the winter. I also actually, if you want to get a great book on steps and stacking habits, have any of you heard of the book Atomic Habits by James Clear? Yeah, that one step leads to another. Just for example, I used to be a night owl, but I love nushing in the kitchen. So I was like, listen, I had to put an obstacle in my way. I can't be in the kitchen nushing. I can't be up because I'm just going to be in the kitchen. So I started to go to bed earlier. That led me to get up earlier and have a good breakfast. Like I'm hungry in the morning, So one step leads to another. That was one of the first steps that I started with. Okay, so I'm going to give you some general guidelines, and you can fine tune it to you. That's what I do with my clients. There's always general guidelines in holistic healthy living that are for everybody, but then there are certain things that, like, I believe in having whole grains, and some people are gluten-free and it doesn't work for them. So it's really about fine-tuning it to you. So just for some quick general guidelines is 3 meals and 2 snacks are a great way to start, and trying not to pick in between. So you have your 3 meals, and they should include, just to give you a framework, you have a balanced plate, and that would include a protein, which would be 1/4 of your plate. I don't count calories. We count blessings, not calories. I used to count calories I did Weight Watchers, and actually gave me a good framework for, like, the vegetables are free, but it's not sustainable and long lasting. And you end up getting caught up with counting points instead of focusing on what's healthy and what's good to eat. So you have your plate. And so I like visuals. You have 1/4 of your plate would be a protein, which is, let's say it's chicken or fish. It's about the size of the palm of your hand going into your hand. And then you'd have the other 1/4 of your plate would be a healthy carb, which could be quinoa, brown rice pasta, sweet potato, and then half your plate would be vegetables, salad. If you feel like, and a protein is something that's important to have at every meal, but if you feel like I don't need the carb, you could skip it. But I do think it's good to incorporate a carb. I have some clients who have a carb at every meal, and they do great with that, the protein and the carb. Some people do it once a day, some people do it twice a day, but it's good to incorporate it. The protein and the carb both bring different nutritional elements to the table, and it keeps you fuller for longer. About being full, just to give you a gauge, you have a scale from 0 to 10. 0 would be I'm starving, and 10 would be I'm so full, I've got a stomachache, or I need a hot water bottle. You want to come to your meal at number 3. That's why I think it's great to have snacks, like unprocessed ones, fruits, vegetables. We're going to make a healthy treat, things like that. You can ask me questions at the end, but that's what I think. It's great to have snacks, because you should come to your meal at number 3, not at number 0, where you can actually think and process. I am a little hungry, but I can breathe. I can think about what I'm about to eat, that you're not ravenous and just, eating away. And you should be finished your meal. This is the real hard part, at number 7. But once you get used to it, it feels good, where you feel satisfied to the point of energy. You feel like, I could eat more, but I'm okay. I'm satisfied to the point of energy. Okay. So exercise is a great thing to incorporate in holistic healthy living. And back to my journey, my grandmother used to take me walking. It's always good to have an example of somebody that's living healthy, or if that you can look up to be like, oh, I'd like to do it like she does. And I always used to look at my grandmother because she always had healthy food, and she ate meals, and she had a bit of cheesecake at the end of her lunch. She had that bit of flexibility, and she took me walking. And in the beginning, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to go walking with my grandmother. But we ended up having this like bonding experience, and I was lagging behind her. And soon enough, I caught up to her. And I've been exercising ever since then. And I think that's because I sensed that she loved it. And so it created this love within me to love it too. I think it's also good to surround yourself with people who enjoy the process. And that's why when we get to one of the elements, you'll see it is important to have the enjoyment. But there have been times when I haven't enjoyed it. Like I remember like a couple of years, I was just going on the treadmill living in Crown Heights, and it's freezing cold. And I realized, you know what, I have to find a way to actually enjoy it. So although you can just, sometimes it's hard and you just have the treadmill, but just knowing that it's doing something good for you can change your way of thinking about doing it. But also you can couple it with something you enjoy. So let's say the treadmill is the thing that you can do in the winter. Couple it with listening to a podcast, or couple it with listening to music that you love. But it's also, if you really I think it's important to find something you love. There's lots of things in Crown Heights to take on. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, doing something fun and connecting to people while you do. I took on boxing recently. I changed things up because that's something fun to me, and I think it's important to have some fun. And I do think weights is very good for toning. And at the end of the day, you are burning calories when you're exercising, but that used to be my only focus. And that's probably one of the reasons why I didn't like it at a certain point too, because I'm like, how many calories am I burning? But then when it doesn't become about that, and it's like, I'm doing this to enhance living healthy, and I'm doing it to keep strong, that feels good. Not when it's like, I'm just doing this because I want to burn calories. So it's more of that mindset of having, instead of being weight conscious, being health conscious. Okay, so drink water. It's hydrating, and sometimes you think you're hungry and you're really thirsty. I have this great acronym, HALT. Are you hungry? Are you angry? Are you lonely? Or are you tired just before you're about to go and dig in? Yeah. But there was one, yeah, the T, instead of tired, you can add to tired, are you thirsty? About meal prep, I have a lot of girls like your age group that come to me and they're like overwhelmed with meal prep. I'd also be overwhelmed with meal prep. It's not my kind of thing to like stand in a kitchen a whole Sunday and prep meals, and then it's not so fresh. And listen, for some people it works. For me personally, it doesn't. And I like to think of things in twos. So like I'll make 2 grains, like a quinoa and a rice, and 2 dressings. If it's one, it's fine, but it's a nice thing to think of things in twos. 2 breakfasts, like you could do overnight oats. If you look at my website, revivewithrivka.com, you'll find some of the recipes there, and 2 healthy treats. And if you have that in your house and you have you get some baby carrots and some snap peas and some fruit, you'll be good to go, because you've got your grain and I guess proteins as well. But that you could do on the spot at night. Like you put up a grilled piece of salmon, you put up a grilled piece of chicken. So these are just some ideas that, like everything I've just said now, is totally possible in short periods of time.
Shout out the picture on the flyer was actually from one of his recipes.
Yeah, it's a juice. Oh, the picture on the, you put that juice? Oh yeah, that juice. I have a juicer. I love smoothies. I don't know if you guys can get the NutriBullet, but I actually posted. Yeah, yeah, the NutriBullet's great because it's not expensive and it actually blends things really well. So if you're the type that doesn't, if you heard me say half a plate of salad and you're like, I hate vegetables, if you get the NutriBullet and you put like spinach in there, I have a great green smoothie, and they're like, okay, you've had a rejuvenating drink in the morning, you've had some greens. It's spinach, mango, strawberries, coconut water, and almond milk. You can always make it thicker. I don't, but I do know someone who's told me they have, and it's fine. But the one thing that you can buy fresh is the baby spinach. Like you can get it in the bag, and then you can just get everything else frozen. The mango and the strawberries could be frozen, and then you need coconut water and almond milk. The coconut water is hydrating and adds some sweetness, and tu b'shvat, you could add some dates to it too if you wanted. Yeah, I do. Yes, you can do kale. I changed to spinach because spinach is easier on the stomach, and kale does have a little bit of a bitter taste, but they both have the same nutritional value. The deeper the green, the more nutrients they have, and they're both deep green. Oh, yes, a quarter of a plate.
That would be like a size of a hand?
Yeah. The palm of your hand, go like the thick part is the palm of your hand going into your hand. Doesn't have to be exactly that. It's just a framework. Yeah, it's just like a visual. But if, let's say, it's chickpeas or you're doing vegetarian, it could be in half cups. If you need to measure. I don't believe in measuring, but some people feel like if I don't, it's gonna, just for the beginning, it's gonna make them have a lot more. But and sometimes you may need a little more, but generally to try and stick to this framework. What else did I want to tell you about that? Oh, so my program is white flour free and refined sugar free. So, but you could have whole grains, whole wheat, whole spelt, and you could have, instead replacing refined sugar, you could have maple syrup, dates, honey, coconut sugar, stevia. All those things are better for your blood sugar levels, and they don't make you crave food as much as refined sugar does. But you'll hear later with my acronym that I do believe in incorporating refined sugar and white flour within flexibility. I have an 80-20 approach where 80% of what you eat is wholesome and healthy, and 20% of your week can just be things that you love that don't have any nutritional value, but for your enjoyment. Yeah, exactly, for your mental health. Okay, so that was the Bina for now. And Das would be really like internalizing it, like making it personal for you. So that's the V. So there was return, expand, V is view and venture. I'm not sure which word I'm going to put in my book, but it's V. So you have the right view and venture into it and make it personal for you. So I just want to give you some views to have in mind, like so that you can internalize it and have a good mindset. Oh, and I wanted to share with you actually that figs represent, we discussed olives, figs represent mindfulness, because when Adam and Chava sinned, they had to cover themselves with fig leaves. And it was actually the tree that ended up making them aware of the world. And the fig leaves that they covered themselves in also had to make them aware of themselves. And it also says about Adam that Adam knew Chava. So when we actually, because he knew her, he was able to multiply and bring children into the world. And so when we get to know ourselves and make things personal for us and understand what we need from the Bina, then we can also bring out the best in us, etc. So one of the mindsets, so the fig leaf represents mindfulness. And one thing that I find very helpful in mindfulness is focusing on one, you have your goal, but you focus on things one day at a time. This notion of, I can do this today. Or even you can do it by the meal. I mean, we have Shabbos, and you can say, I can do this for this meal, taking it one step at a time. Even just wake up in the morning and really, I think meditation, meditation has never really been my thing, but I'm getting more into it. As far as using meditation in the right way, that it's like really about connecting to Hashem as well, not meditating on something that isn't connected to that. But on knowing that, meditating on the fact that when you wake up in the morning, kind of closing your eyes and being like, okay, I can do this today. And when I say connecting to Hashem, one of the ways to do that, to meditate on what you want to actually achieve, is through journaling. And I'll just tell you how I journal and how I journal with my clients. It's more of a mind, body, soul experience. I actually started off just doing it about food. And then I realized this is not meaningful. And it made the whole experience for everybody much more meaningful when we incorporate mind, body, and soul. So the first thing we do in the journal is write something we're grateful for, starting off with gratefulness. It could be anything. And it's basically what we do in our lives, Mada'ani. And then the next thing is, you've heard of A Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl. And he had said, if you have a why, you can endure the how. Because he believed whatever his process of whatever he went through in the Holocaust, even though that was absolutely excruciating and we should never know of such things, but you can take whatever lessons he learned. If he could do it there, we could apply it into our lives in any struggle or any situation. So he felt like the people who had their why of why they wanted to live were able to endure the how. So when we have a why, it gets you into a really great frame of mind of doing the how during the day. So for example, I'll just give you, so I get my clients to write why revive. And it could be, here are some of the affirmations or some of the intentions. I want to feel aligned, authentic from the inside out. I want to be in control of my impulses. I want to feel beautiful. I want to enjoy my life. Things like that. So when you have that, okay, I want to be in control of my impulses. Let's say that's what you had written that day. It kind of gets you into this mindset of when you're in front of things that you don't even necessarily want, but they're just there and you're going to take them. Having written that down is definitely going to help with your day to be like, hey, I just wrote that down this morning. I'm going to stick to that. So how I do that is, okay, so when you have a why, you can do every day, do anyhow, and you're doing this in mind, body, and soul. So you write something down that you're going to do for your mind, and something down that you're going to do for your soul. And then I write body, like the mind could be I'm reading certain chapters of a book. The soul could be I'm saying Tehillim today, or they could be combined. I'm learning a sikha, and then your body is what you're going to eat that day. So you write breakfast, your intention. That's the best way to food journal, is to write it in the morning instead of as you go along with the day. You write breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner. And if you change it, if you've changed it, you just cross it out and write what you did differently. And then you can kind of look back and see, okay, what do I need to work on? And also, what did I do? What are my wins? So I also get my clients to write, and I do it myself too, at the bottom, strength and flexibility, where you felt like you were strong and where you felt like you were flexible. And if you've been too flexible or if you've been too hard on yourself, so you get to see during your week how you've been. Okay. So now getting to actually the strength and flexibility, which is the action, the bringing it down, bringing the Chachma Bina and Das down into action. And just to tell you that pomegranates, which we're going to get to over here, they represent action. They're like surrounded by, what would you call that? The skin, this white,
Thin skin?
Yeah.
Actually,
I read somewhere it's very good for anti-aging. I don't know I'm wondering how to incorporate that. No, I'm eating it. Yeah. But anyway, the pomegranate stands for action, and it's basically the mitzvah, and each mitzvah stands alone. It's not, it's the 630, but each action stands alone in doing something positive and making a difference in this world. And and it represents getting it done. Like you do the mitzvah and you get it done. And so just to bring that for within holistic healthy living, is the V is for vigilance, which is gvura. We need the gvura, and we're going to get to the E, which is enjoyment, which is chesed. We need both, which brings tiferes, which is the beauty and the peace. Actually, Dr. Edith Eger, another Holocaust survivor, I actually have a podcast episode where I interviewed her. You can look it up. It's called The Choice. But she said strength and flexibility are inseparable. Her dance teacher actually told her this before she went to war. She was a dancer, and he said to her these words: strength and flexibility are inseparable. And it took her, she often thought about that during the war. Like she has to be strong, but she also has to be flexible. And I very much feel this applies to healthy living, because we need the strength. The Rebbe, I like sharing this quote that the Rebbe had said in Basi Lagani. I mean, it was put into a quote. This world is not a jungle. This world is God's garden. But for a garden to produce fruit, one must work particularly hard. It takes more effort and more time. So doing it the authentic, holistic way is the long, short way. It takes a little bit more time. Yeah, other ways can, or let's say within weight loss, could be very fast, but it's not long lasting, and it's not meaningful, and it's not sustainable and attainable for life. Yeah. I want to say about that. And then we have, that was the olives. And then I wanted to say about the E is enjoyment. And grapes actually represent joy because we drink wine and we enjoy wine. And then we end up revealing a secret. And just applying this to healthy living. And what I've shared with you today is that when we have that wine and when we have that enjoyment, we're kind of really revealing the secret of our identity, because we've done the Chachma Bin and Das, we've done the Gvura, and incorporating the Chesed as well. Both those things brings the Tiferes, and that kind of leads to bringing out our secret of who we are and being able to express the real us. And yes, and the Chesed also, like, for example, just to give you a practical example, I had a mom who came to me and she's like, okay, I'm really scared to come to you because I cannot do this. I'm not going to have my pizza because I take my kids out every Thursday night. We go to the pizza shop. And I'm like, yes, go have your pizza with your kids. Like, it's important for kids to see as well. One day, Mitzvah Hashem, and some of you are married, to see that, okay, I can live healthy and I can also enjoy some of the time and enjoy with my kids and go out with my husband and share some dessert. I've got lots of tips on that, on how to do that. But basically, it's what I shared with you. And you can order, I look at it when I go out to eat. Okay, I don't have to cook at home. Let me order something that I would make at home, but it's going to be so much more fun ordering it out. Like today, there are so many options of salads. By the way, when I said about the balanced plate, that also means you could do that in a sandwich. Like, you have 2 pieces of bread or a wrap, and you're putting in the protein and the vegetables. So it's the same combination. It's the protein, carb, and vegetables. So yeah, so basically the enjoyment. I missed one thing, and I leave it at the end. I left it at the end for this class because it kind of brings it all together. But there's an I in revive. I did the Gevurah and the Chesed first. I put the I at the end. The I is influence, but you need the Gevurah and the Chesed before you can have the influence. When you do this, it ends up having a ripple effect. One day you'll have a family and you'll be doing that with your children. Now you do that with a friend. A friend watches you and you're like, have this extra glow, and you're like eating healthy, and you're also enjoying your ice cream or your pizza. And they're like, what are you doing? And, it ends up having a ripple effect. I must tell you, I'm just going to confess, but when I was doing like the counting calories, I was drinking Diet Coke because it was 0 calories. I wasn't really focused on, I did switch it for water. I believe in healthy swaps. Like, I've always loved cakes and cookies, and that's why I make healthy treats. I need to incorporate that in my life so that I have it. Otherwise, it's just not going to work for me. And most people enjoy the healthy treats as well, but you have to know yourself. For some people, these healthy treats are triggers and they can't have them for a while, and then they can incorporate them slowly, or there are certain ones that are not triggers for them. But what I want to tell about the Diet Coke is that I was like, my kids aren't going to have this, when I was first doing it, when my kids were younger. And, but my daughter, like, yeah, she ended up taking some of my Diet Coke, and she loved Diet Coke. Like, it took her a long time to get out of that also, because your kids inevitably are going to do what you do. So yeah, so have this influence having a ripple effect. And I actually wanted to share with you a thought on that. And that is about, also dates. That dates are joy, dates are sweet. And basically this concept of the long, short way, that it takes 70 years for a date tree to grow and produce its dates. But once the dates come, they're sweet. So that's the same thing. This is the long, short way, and it's a step-by-step process. It takes time, and that's okay. It's a good thing, because it ends up being sweet when it's attainable and doable. And where, in making the process along the way meaningful. And it says, Tzadik Katamar Yifrach, the truly righteous will flourish like a date tree, Ke'erev Balvanon Yiskeh, they'll grow tall like a cedar tree. So it seems, how can we be a date tree and a cedar tree? So really, there's a time for both. There's a time to be like a date tree, where we're flourishing and giving that out, giving the sweetness out to the world. And then there's a time to be a tall cedar tree, which is more internal and working on ourselves and self-growth. And I guess that this is your time now to do that. At the same time, when you're doing the self-growth, we also are always in the mindset of giving to the world. And I also feel that way about when you have a baby. There's a time to do some self-care or to take care of your children. And then there's a time to be the date tree and give. But always having this mindset of, I love this actually this mindset from Rabbi Manis Friedman of living. There's the difference between living and existing. Existing is just doing your thing, taking care of yourself, and you're kind of just existing. Living, you're actually contributing to life. But we do need to exist. So it's really about existing within living. So we're existing, we're taking care of ourselves, but with the mindset of I'm existing to live. Okay, on that note, we're gonna make this a little practical. And I wanted to show you one of the healthy treats that I make. This one's for Tu B'Shvat. I just want to pull, I wanted to pull it up on my phone. Do you have I actually shared today, we weren't gonna do, I was gonna do either a smoothie or, wait, is this on me? No, sorry. If you look at my last post, I don't know, it's still is it still, yeah, you can still make a Tu B'Shvat smoothie, but I made a smoothie with grapes and pomegranate seeds and dates. All these things are good with the NutriBullet, but I'm going to show you now, when I do these kind of recipes with dates, it's better to use the food processor because in the NutriBullet, like it's going to get stuck on the blade and, okay. So when I show you, are we doubling the recipes? You got to, did you get enough for double?
I think so.
Yeah, it looks like there's enough for double. Okay.
I followed whatever you gave me.
Okay, we'll double the recipe so you could all take a piece home. These are the most amazing frozen. I actually like freezing everything. You know, also as far as portion control goes, whenever I make my treats, like if you have the whole thing sitting there, sometimes it can be really difficult. You can just, let's say you're making the cookies or date balls, you could put 3 in a bag. Usually any of my recipes is 3, like 3 balls or 3 cookies is 1 portion.
I learned that from you, by the way.
Oh, you did? Mm-hmm. Put them in the freezer and take it out one at a time.
I love it.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. Oh, this looks different to the usual. Okay, so I'm pulling it up. Hold on. Okay, I call these a 2-layer chocolate fruit bites. We're starting off with the dates. I'm doubling the recipe. Does anyone want to come up here and be like a, no? Okay. No problem, I'll do it. Okay. Does anyone have any questions while I'm?
I actually do.
Okay.
Can I say something?
Yeah, sure.
So we're talking about like making a plate and doing portion, like, like different.
What's your name, by the way? Hi.
I've been listening to your podcast. They're really awesome.
Oh, thank you.
It's really nice.
Thank you. It's so nice to hear.
Thank you. Yeah, I especially enjoy the star flower one just now. It was so awesome.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, she's amazing. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it took a lot from that. So we're talking about like putting different foods on your plate and having like different like categories and having that in mind. And like in my personal journey, I know that when I started doing that, I was thinking about food all day.
Right.
Going to the kitchen, like avocado, but then there's no protein. Like
right.
Like
yes,
I
it does.
dropped it because it wasn't working for my mental health.
Yeah. Well, first of all, that's why I say to be flexible because, you know, I am just to adapt to a situation. Let's say some days, I don't know, the baby's up or you've got a lot going on. And it's really about adapting to a situation and knowing, okay, I can just take some rice cakes out, an avocado and some baby carrots. It doesn't have to be perfect every day. Yes, there is that balance of you're being mindful about making a change. And so you end up, you do have to think about what you're eating. But at the same time, there should be flexibility and it doesn't have to be stressful. Like even let's say sometimes if you don't have the protein around, so you'll you know, by the way, if you had quinoa or if you had chickpeas, they have both elements, protein and carb. And it's okay if sometimes you don't have everything on the plate. You'll have it at dinner. You know what I mean? You'll have it the next meal. It's kind of like trying to find your balance throughout the day, like looking at the day as more wholesome. Like if one meal doesn't work out, it's okay. You're going to skip to the next meal. You'll do it right at the next meal or the next day even. But and to try to have things in the house, those easy things, so that it doesn't become like this whole obsession, that you have those easy things around, like the rice cakes or Mary Gone crackers I like, and to have like a bag of baby carrots and snap peas and some nut butter, because you should just know the nut butter is your protein, the Mary Gone crackers or the rice cakes are your carb, and sorry?
Even the Mary Gone.
Yeah, they have seeds in them. Yes. So to really have this mindset of, I want to make it easy for myself. I don't want to make this difficult. Sorry?
That's good.
Yeah. One thing I want to tell you is, by the way, I love this quote, don't let the perfect be the enemy of good. Yeah.
I live with progress, not perfection.
Yeah.
I love that all day, every day.
One thing I do want to tell you is that I didn't include in telling you about the balanced plate is incorporating a healthy fat. Like gone are the days when we do fat-free. I remember being constantly hungry and feeling lethargic because I was counting calories, and I was always hungry, and that led me to always be thinking about food. But when you incorporate a healthy fat, and it shouldn't be, that's not the main thing. It's a smaller element, but it makes a difference. Having a dressing on your salad. But what I mean when I say don't make it the main element is don't deep fry your food. It's more like have the dressing on your salad, make sure like not to just have egg whites, but to have the egg yolk. Salmon has healthy fat. Just make sure there's some healthy fat there. Yeah, sure. If anyone else has, okay, I actually want you, if someone wants to just take I'll do it for you. Hold on. I had a nice thought about this recipe as well. Okay, I'm doubling the recipe. So basically you can there's many different things you can do with blended dates. You could add any kind of nuts to them, just blend them up, make them into balls. You could add coconut to them, put them in your freezer. You could add any nuts like cashews. Actually, cashews have magnesium in them and they're meant to be good for your mood. I never saw much of a difference, but that's what it says.
And according to today, check for bugs.
Sorry?
Today came out a thing that cashews have been showing.
Really?
Up with bugs.
Wow.
So just check them for bugs, but I love them. I love cashews.
Okay.
Also, I have a tip for meal prep.
Yeah, give it a tip.
So if you're like a single person cooking just for you, like to get the proteins in your day, I buy an entire pack of chicken or an entire pack of salmon.
Can you
or
put
an entire pack of
in
ground beef.
oats, half a cup of
And then
oats?
when I buy it, before I even put it into the fridge, I put each piece of chicken or however big the portion size that I want, like one piece of salmon, one piece of chicken, like however much ground beef, into an individual Ziploc bag. And I put each individualized Ziploc bag portion of protein into the freezer, so that when I personally, my schedule works out that I make my lunch in the morning, so before I go to work.
Thanks.
So at night, I pull that one piece of protein out of the freezer, stick it in the fridge. By the morning, it's mostly defrosted and it's ready to go for me to cook. But if, whatever your schedule works.
Wait 1 second, I'm doubling.
I'll
half a
tell you,
cup.
I'm a mother of a family, and I also do that for my lunches. So even though I'm making the dinner for my kids, I do that because at lunch I always end up
It's double 3/4. Nice. Thank you for sharing. Okay, what I want to tell you here is also you have oats, which is your fiber, which is your fiber and carb. By the way, if you ever want to skip a carb, you're replacing it with fiber. So you could replace it with cooked vegetables. One of the best ways to do this, if you wanted to, one of the solid ways to do this is to have a carb with your protein in the morning and at lunch. So let's say you have yogurt with granola, you have eggs with toast, you have your lunch with a carb as well, and then dinner you just have protein and vegetables. So your metabolism is actually slowing down later in the day. So that's one of the best ways to do it. But some people feel like they're sitting down with their husbands, or they feel that they need that then. But that is one of the ideal ways to do it. Yeah, so we have protein, which is the nuts. We have the oats, which is your fiber, carb. Okay, one more thing. I will also add in cocoa. So you know that actually chocolate is not a bad thing because cocoa is cacao. They write cacao for fancy. It's the same thing, cocoa, cacao. It's a good part of chocolate. It actually has a lot of antioxidants. It's really healthy. It's the sugar in the chocolate that's not healthy. So if you get chocolate that's like 80% chocolate, or there's great chocolate out there, Bensey's Gourmet, and it's not a bad thing to have. Sorry?
No, I was just saying that like the 80% very bitter.
Yeah, it's quite bitter, but there's this brand Hue that I like. Have you ever seen that? That's 70%. Yeah. But this is good because this is the cocoa, but this is good also because this is just the cocoa and we're doing it with dates.
Right.
Okay, so a half a cup. I'm doubling the recipe, so I'm trying to.
So good.
So if this is a little, okay, so basically that's the whole thing, okay? This is one layer. I hope this works. Yeah, now if you, do you have some water? If it's not, if it ends up being, yeah, we'll use some if we need. Did someone drink from this? No, that's just for me. Yeah, it's we need a few more dates because sometimes the dates, like the dates I have at home, are much bigger than this. So if it's not moist enough, either add a few more dates or a bit more water. So I'm just going to put a couple more dates and a bit more water. But you know, you don't really need to measure, but it's good. I guess it's good to have measurements. But I'm saying sometimes I just make date balls like I told you, and I just whip them up with whatever nuts I have and some coconut, and you know, you could put chia seeds in them, which is a great source of protein and a bit of a healthy fat, or hemp seeds. You can roll them, like if you even make this, you could roll it in those things. You could roll it in some in coconut, some in hemp seeds, some in chia seeds, some in flax meal. Flax meal is great for digestion.
It sounds like a peanut buttery type of
Sorry?
flax. I've noticed that's like kind of like a peanut buttery
Taste.
taste.
Depends what you're doing it with. Like I have these raw chocolate chip balls that yeah, with flax meal. Yeah, you don't have to use egg. Hold on. Okay. So this is good. Okay, this is one layer. See, that's better. That's good. It's a bit crummy, but then you'll flatten it out. It's going to be fine. Yeah, even if you made the balls, I just want to show you. This food processor is not so. See, you could do these in balls, or we're going to make them in this thing. I'm just going to mix it a drop more. Where'd you get this food processor from? It's fine. It's actually fine because even if it's chunky, it's really dates and nuts, which is fine. Okay. Just going to flatten it out. By the way, if your hands are wet, it's going to be easier to flatten it.
Did you always enjoy cooking?
Did I always? Yes.
Correction. Do you enjoy cooking?
Yes, I do enjoy cooking. I do.
I can tell from the way you do it.
Yes, I do enjoy cooking. And I used to help my mother do the baking at home. And I thought I'm not going to be able to cook. But cooking is actually easier than baking because cooking, you don't have to be precise. It's kind of, you can be a bit more free. With not this particular recipe, like with dates and stuff, but generally with baking, you need to be a little bit more precise. But yeah, I did always enjoy it. But I don't like complicated things. I like to save time. So
was it a hard switch?
What?
To cook whatever you used to cook to like now think to add more nutritional value into it.
Oh, you mean to make things nutritious? The healthy.
Yeah.
It was a process. It just kind of, it wasn't like it happened switch one day. I just started making one health, like switched one. I was actually surprised that things tasted good. I decided, okay, because I love, let's say, cookies, chocolate chip cookies. And one day I decided, okay, when I first started becoming, I think, yeah, that's about the time when I started doing it. I decided I'm going to try switching for, like, I'll switch the white flour for whole spelt flour. I'll switch the oats for, I'll do oats and almond flour. And I was like, these taste amazing. So yeah, and because I had been on these other diets, I wasn't having any of those things. I was appreciating that I was able to have something. Yeah. And then it's really good for your kids also because your taste buds adapt to less sweet things.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, the kids come home, they're like, can I have a chocolate chip cookie? And, you know, they're getting some oats and some almond flour and I'm just spreading this out. Sorry that it's taking a bit of time. I wish I had a pair of gloves, but everyone will excuse me. Huh? What? I know. No, actually, if your hands are wet, it's easier. If you like wet your hands a little.
The gloves don't stick. Oh.
I know. Yeah, when I do it, I'm saying I just wet my hands a little. I don't do it with gloves. I'm not a gloves person.
No, I'm saying when I bake with gloves, like half the dough comes from.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yes. Okay. We'll just. Sorry.
They smell good too, the coconut.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. This, yeah, I told you this tastes great frozen. Okay, there we go. One layer. Okay, the next layer, you don't have to wash this out. Yeah, we're doing 2 layers. Well, I would rinse it out, but we'll just do it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to use bananas. There's no sink here, is there? Well, okay. Well, I'll just do it like this. Do you want to put 2 bananas in the food processor? Bananas. I just put in cocoa, dates, and oats. Cocoa, dates, oats, and almonds. Yeah. Okay, and then this is. I'm doubling the recipe, by the way. If you want to make it just for one, it's going to be like half this pan. 2 bananas. Do you want to? I'll just tell you what else there is. 3 tablespoons of maple syrup, 4 tablespoons almond butter. Oh, we'll use honey. Okay, that's fine. Okay, you'll put the honey and I'll put the almond butter. This is great to have it. They also sell little packets of these. It's like going out on the go and you take with you an apple and a packet of almond butter. Do you mind? Oh, can someone open this for me? Okay. Yeah, you can just use the spoon to put. Whoa. I'll move this. Yeah, use the spoon. Okay, so generally you can use honey or maple syrup. I love using maple syrup because it's lower glycemic than honey, which is better for your blood sugar levels. It's the lowest glycemic of all the maple syrup.
That's so funny. I used agave because I thought
Yeah,
that was the lowest.
Yeah, it might be, but I don't use it anymore because they came out with studies that it's not good for you. Yeah, a while ago, a couple of years ago. Don't we need more honey? It said 1 tablespoon. No, I think it's 3 tablespoons. So I'll just take. But I did honey because of Israel, you know. No, wait, it's not one of the things. It's a lamp flowing with milk and honey. But you could do, yeah, you could do either one. Me, I'm doubling the recipe. It was 3 tablespoons for one, and I'm doing 6.
What are your thoughts on dairy?
It's just the truth is maple syrup is more expensive than honey. The raw honey is expensive. I like the raw. Yeah.
If you're gonna buy a maple syrup, do you have to have something in mind, like? Okay.
No, pure maple syrup, grade A. Sorry, grade B. Grade B. Grade B maple syrup is the better maple syrup.
What is grade B?
It's
Like
just,
the brown?
yeah, the browner one. Yeah. I get it from Trader Joe's. Yeah. I just haven't got it. I know, there's going to be. Okay. Yeah. I'm just going to quickly do this. How much? Oh, because it's 8?
If you're doubling it, yeah. So it's 4 and then 8.
The one that you go in the mall?
Yeah. I actually did list. What are my thoughts on what?
Dairy. I know.
Yeah. I mean, there's right. No, I think if dairy does well for you, it's fine. And then some people don't do well with it at all. Yeah,
I guess depends on
yeah, and like let's say when something calls for milk, I like to mix it up because different studies come out about everything. There's almond milk, there's cow's milk, everything they come out. you know, that it is good, it isn't good. So I like to mix it up, and I do think there's benefits to all of them, but I'll tell you what I do. And I think that's a great thing for single girls to do if you want to do this, is make your own almond milk. It's really easy. You could do it with cashews. You basically, because the almond milk that you're buying on the shelf, it has a lot of added preservatives, and it's really been watered down. You soak almonds, like let's say one of these things, right? You soak it for about 5 hours, but it can be soaked for up to 12 hours, like overnight. And then you rinse it and you put it in, let's say a Vitamix. Well, you could do less than that, but I'm saying 3 times the amount of water as whatever you've soaked. And I add 3 dates and a little bit of salt. Then you just blend it. And then you don't have to use a cheesecloth. You can just buy one of those little strainers with the teeniest holes, and you strain it, and it lasts up to 5 days because it hasn't got any added preservatives. But it is a great energy booster, and you can add it to all your smoothies. You can make overnight oats with it. It's really great. Yeah.
What's the date inside?
No. You just soak the almonds.
Overnight?
Yeah.
And then what's the peel?
Yes.
And then the next morning, that's it.
You blend it with 3 times the amount of water, a bit of salt, and 3 dates.
You boil it with the peel or with the?
With the peel, because then when you strain it, the peel goes away. It's just going to be. I'm just going to do this. It doesn't have to have as much almond butter as it said. I'm just putting a bit less.
It's 3 times the water, right?
What? 3 times the water, yeah. So if you're doing it in your NutriBullet, you only need like half the amount of this.
What do you think of our?
Oh yeah, whatever it said there.
I doubled it.
Okay, good. What do I think of artificial sweetener? Well, it's not Splenda and all that. Oh, I don't really use that. That's actually not bad. No, I'm talking about like Splenda and Sweet and Low.
It's actually funny. Splenda makes monk fruit. It's monk fruit analytical and like granulated.
Yeah.
I think it's really good. I was wondering like.
Yeah, no, I know that that's better than. I don't think that monk fruit is bad. I've never looked into it that much. That's the truth.
Well,
I will look into it and I'll get back to you.
Someone here looked into monk fruit.
Yeah, and
She said she couldn't fit it over here.
hi. Yeah, tell us.
can't find it by itself. It's always mixed with other sweeteners.
Right, maybe that's why I never got it.
I think it's like Krinsky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
How come I can't?
Tastes really good.
Oh, is there something else? Vanilla or something? You don't have that, right? That's fine. Doesn't matter. Okay. Just want to make sure it's sweet enough. Yeah. Okay. I just need a spatula. Is there one? Okay.
How long does that almond milk last for?
5 days. 5 days the most. Because
Oh, you're saying-
yeah, if you make your own, it's really good. But mine gets used up all the time because I add it to smoothies. I make overnight oats with it. I just drink it. Yeah.
Was that peanut butter? Or was that?
This was almond butter, banana. Banana's really good to put in the. Sorry.
Is peanut butter not?
No, I don't mind. I like almonds have more nutritional value than peanuts, but you could do peanuts if you want. Yeah. These. Oh yes, you could put maple syrup or honey into. No, I haven't done it with honey, but I have done it with maple syrup, the almond milk. I don't know if it's good with honey. Yeah. You don't need, if you're doing half of that, you don't need 3 dates. It should be like 1 or 2 dates. It just adds a bit of sweetness, you know. Whatever amount of dates you're putting, whatever amount of almonds you're putting, put 3 times the amount of water. No, dates I just add for sweetness. Like you can do whatever you want. Okay, I don't have a spatula, but basically this is the layer. By the way, bananas, because I have banana in here, bananas are great to put in the freezer and you can just blend them up with as a smoothie and make like an ice cream, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a good substitute, like once in a while. Oh, by the way, another good thing to keep in mind is that you're eating within a 10 to 12 hour period. So if you have your breakfast at 8, you're finished at 8. I was just going to say, if you're having ice cream cravings at night, you can make yourself an ice cream. So that's for once in a while. But no, but I'm saying still that's better than having some rich ice cream. You know what I mean? And that, you know, I always say, like, if some nights you have a Fabrengen or you're going out with your friends or something like that, and you didn't stick to it within the 10-hour, 12-hour thing, that's fine. It's for most of your week that you're doing that.
Progress, not perfection.
Yeah. But I think that's the way it should be. Like if I see one of my clients is like, oh, you see, I did this on this and this and that, I'm like, that's perfect. That's the 80-20. You did this, you went out twice later at night that week, and most of the week you were great. That's exactly how it should be. Okay, so this is the 2 layers. And just for, you can top this, you can just do it like this. You can top this with whatever you want. I'm just doing it with pomegranate seeds tonight for Tu B'Shvat.
It doesn't matter when you go to sleep.
It does matter. I mean, it depends what your work schedule is. You know, if you're going to be at the work, I mean, sleep is part of holistic living.
No, but I mean like 7-10 hour.
Oh, yeah.
That thing started 11.
Yeah, I mean, for some people, if breakfast works for you and you're getting up a bit later and you want to start at 11, yeah. And then what time do you go to bed? No, that's what I'm saying. That's not the ideal. I'm talking about having a gauge of like eating a normal breakfast at 8 and then you're done at 8. I wouldn't eat dinner at 11 in general. Yeah.
Like 2 hours.
But that's why I'm saying, like, some people will do it within 8-hour period. I just think that's a little extreme, but you could do that. That's more intermittent fasting kind of thing, you know. But that might work for you. Might work for you that, you know, to have your breakfast at 11 and then finish it at 8.
If you go to sleep later, does it matter? Meaning, like, could you extend the time if you're going to sleep later, or not necessarily?
Could you extend the time? Is that what she's asking?
Oh, I guess.
Yeah, she's asking, like, could you have your dinner at 11?
Regardless, you shouldn't be eating like past.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Even if your whole schedule is like kind of like.
Yeah. I mean, what, that you every night you're eating dinner at 11? Yeah, no, I'm just saying. I just don't think that's healthy anyway. But to every night eat dinner at 11, and then you're in this vicious cycle of eating.
Your schedule is like, like.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes, I totally get what you're saying.
Right now, you know what I'm saying? Like, my schedule is just different. Like
Yeah, no, you know, if you go to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, it's going to be very hard to be finished eating at 8 o'clock at night. That's the truth. So what I would tell that person to do is probably eat at 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and then have, instead of having their snacks earlier, to have a snack or two a bit later.
Got it.
Yeah.
How did you turn from night owl to sleep? Did you read a book? Did you hear?
Well, I had children.
It hasn't helped me.
And I, you know, my day started early because I had to be up with the kids. It just kind of happened because of kids. Yeah.
So
I beat the system.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
Well, are you still a night owl? And then I became like this early riser. I just
I
can't.
love it. Your 5 a.m. thing.
Yeah.
I love it too.
Oh, I never thought I'd ever do the 5 a.m. thing, but I actually love
I
it.
wake up at 7 with my kids.
Yeah.
But then I have.
Yeah, but you have
a
how old's your baby? There's a time for everything. How old's your baby? Yeah, I would not do 5 a.m. club at 18 months.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
But how do I go to bed earlier?
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. You know what? For me, it was the struggle that led me to go to bed earlier. It was a struggle of me wanting to pick at things at night. And I'm like, I'm going to sleep. I'm just going to hang out in my bedroom. Oh, you know what? I do have an easier, my husband's a night owl. And so if one of my girls was out late, I knew I could count on him to be up to know where they are. So I must say I did, that was helpful. That's helpful that I know somebody's up. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And so what time do you go to bed? Here is the thing. We can cut a few pieces. I actually just want to read, when I did this post, I'm just going to read it to you. As you see, the pomegranate has many seeds and each one is separate from one another, and Hasidus represents the concept of getting things done. I told you this. Sometimes we do things because we really relate to it and we feel it, we love it. And other times, like the pomegranate food, each action mixture we do it for the deed alone. Even if it doesn't feel natural or amazing, we just get it done and do it for the mitzvah itself, not for any feeling. And that's a really hard one to do sometimes because we want to feel the emotion in it. The deeper layer. That's why I made 2 layers. At the end of the day, though, it just isn't always there. This analogy made me think of working out. Sometimes we work out just because we want to accomplish a weight loss goal or because we know what it will do for our minds and bodies, not because we love it. We find it hard. I have felt that with time and my own experiences and with clients that one can grow to love it, but by seeing what it does for us and also by finding particular workouts that speak to us. This also makes me feel like with time, we can also change the mitzvahs we do without the passion to feeling emotion and love in them as well, connecting to the deeper layer. In this recipe, the deeper layer is the dates. They're perfect and sweet. When we combine the pomegranate, the action, and the date, the sweetness and the depth, we have the best 2 layers. Okay, so that's it. While I cook, I bake, I always like to think of some deeper meaning with what I'm doing. Okay, so would you like to taste some? By the way, this is amazing frozen. It cuts much neater. When it's frozen, this banana becomes and then when you serve it, just serve it on the spot because otherwise it's going to melt. But you could have it just soft like this too. I'm just going to wash my hands.
You want me to set it up?
Yeah.
Before we cut it, is it okay? At Living Hasidus, we have a tradition.
Mhm.
We take a selfie with our speaker.
Yeah.
You up for that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to put in my story. But can I just wash my hands a second?
Yes, yes.
You mind just taking this off?
This one, yes.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Yes. Oh yeah.
I think right here. Ellen. Now I have to counter it. Okay.